Hello and welcome to this month's Lunch and Learn on grocery shopping for heart health. My name is Allison Knight and I am the health coach for Employee Health Center. Before we dive into the grocery shopping part, we need to discuss heart disease itself. Heart disease is the #1 killer of both men and women in the United States. Heart disease can present itself as a variety of conditions or symptoms, including coronary artery disease, heart arrhythmia, regular heartbeat, cardiomyopathy, valvular problems, and other types of conditions. Risk factors. Age is always a risk factor in many chronic illnesses because unfortunately as we start to age, our body systems start to slow down. Sex is also a risk factor. Women tend to have higher rates of heart disease. Family history, whether that's simply genetics or also lifestyle and environmentally driven. If you smoke, you have a higher risk for heart disease. If you have a poor diet, you're eating more of a caloric diet and less nutrient-dense diet. Physical inactivity, and this doesn't necessarily just mean not exercising, but even if you exercise, but you have a very sedentary job where you aren't moving around a lot throughout the day, that can increase your risk of heart disease. High blood pressure and high cholesterol, because these are both related to the arteries, and that can impact the heart. Diabetes, and the one that often gets overlooked, but stress. So what are lifestyle factors that we can manage or control to help reduce our risk? Managing your stress. This is extremely important, and again, one that we often overlook. When we have a stressor, whether it's perceived or real, our sympathetic nervous system activates that fight or flight response, which in turn increases our heart rate, our respiration rate, our blood pressure, our blood sugar, and reduces our digestion. Now, in this modern age, we have stress all of the time. Work, home life, news, media, all of it. We are always on, and so our body is always at this point of everything being heightened, and we never return to that normal homeostasis, so things are always elevated. And this can definitely play a factor in heart disease. Staying physically active, again, exercise is important, but also just trying to move and get in as many steps or movement in throughout your entire day. Controlling those other heart health conditions, not smoking, especially because this can greatly impact those arteries, which again are strongly related to the heart. Maintaining a healthy weight. If we have excess weight, that means our heart has to pump that much harder to get blood through those veins and to arteries and to all the places it needs to go in the body. And then eating a nutritious diet. You want to make sure that you are including vitamins and minerals that help support healthy arteries and heart health, and that you're not deficient or even insufficient in these vitamins and minerals. Just because you don't have a full-blown deficiency, you might have an insufficiency, meaning that your body is not getting the optimal amount and therefore not running at its full capacity. So, grocery guide. Before you go, it's always helpful to review your store's weekly ad. This can be more budget friendly. You can see the deals. You can get any coupons. You want to create a menu for the week. This can help you stay on track, create a streamlined list of things that you need, and it's also beneficial to include snacks so that you're not just, grabbing whatever's in the pantry. Write your list based on your particular store's layout. This can make it easier for you to not get sidetracked, to pick things off the hubcap, and just stick with the things that are on your list. And lastly, eat a snack beforehand, because if you go grocery shopping when you're very hungry, you're going to want everything that you see. And again, you're going to grab things not on your list. You're going to go for those snacky foods. You're going to throw your budget out the window. So follow these tips before you even go. First up is produce. This is usually the first section that you enter in a grocery store. The daily recommendation for fruit and vegetables is 5 cups of fruits and vegetables. We're looking at more of like 2.5 cups of fruit and 3 cups of vegetables a day. You want to shop the rainbow. Specifically for fruits and vegetables, all of those different colors means that there's different types of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and antioxidants in those fruits and vegetables, and so you want a variety of them in your diet. Purchase pre-cut produce or salad. So I will say sometimes purchasing the pre-cut produce is not necessarily budget friendly. However, if you're looking at your time spent and how much your time is worth, it might in the long run pay off for you to purchase pre-cut produce or those salad kits if you're more likely to eat the fruits and vegetables if they are already cut up. If they are not already cut up when you purchase them, I do highly recommend that when you do get home, you wash them and you cut them and you put them in containers right away, because then again, you are more likely to consume them versus something else. Stock up on the produce you like. If you are someone who really doesn't like a lot of fruits or vegetables, stock up on the ones that you do like. Keep those on hand, but only buy what you need for just a few days, because then you're avoiding that waste, you're avoiding throwing money out, you're avoiding throwing food out. And then choose to use your overripe produce for things like soups or smoothies. So overripe vegetables tend to make great soup fillers, and overripe fruit tends to be great for smoothies or even like muffins or quick breads like banana bread. Why these are important for your heart health. They contain a variety of nutrients that protect the heart. Again, we talked about eating that nutrient-dense diet, a variety so that you're getting lots of nutrients in, so that you're getting a sufficient amount of those nutrients to run at your optimal best. Potassium is found in a lot of different types of fruits and vegetables, and it supports a healthy blood pressure, which in turn supports a healthy heart. Lycopene, which is found in things like tomatoes, that's what gives it its red color, helps prevent inflammation, which can keep those arteries healthy. Vitamin K, which is particularly found in those green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale and romaine lettuce, can help with artery flexibility, keeping those nice and healthy, helping with blood pressure and cholesterol and heart health. And monounsaturated fats promote heart health. So the deli and bakery are usually found very close to the produce, and they might be surprised that I'm including this, but there are some things that you can get here that are convenient and can also be incorporated into a heart-healthy diet. Try picking up a rotisserie chicken just for dinner, or using the leftovers, or picking it up with the intention of using it to make chicken salad, enchiladas, top a salad with it. There are a lot of different things that you can use the chicken for, and it's super convenient and affordable to purchase. As far as the deli goes, you can get deli salads for sides that are on the healthier side. So you can get a broccoli salad or a kale salad. They often have quinoa type salads, but you can get something quick that's still nutritious and a good option from the deli counter. Opt for whole grain buns and rolls. So choose things that are made with the whole grain versus going strictly with the white refined carbohydrates, because these are more nutritious and contain more nutrients that are good for your heart. You can also grab freshly made dips and spreads here like guacamole, salsa, or hummus. Typically, these are going to be lower in fat, especially saturated fat, making them more heart-healthy choices. Next comes bread, and that can either be the bakery or from the aisle. The daily recommendation for grains, which breads fall under, are 6 to 8 ounces. You want to try to make half of your daily intake whole grains. Ideally more, but at least half of the grains that you take in should be whole grains like wheat, oats, rye, millet, quinoa versus white bread, white rice, white pasta. Why is this important? Because whole grains contain fiber, and they also contain B vitamins, iron, magnesium, and other key nutrients that help with heart health. When you're looking at the items, you want to select items that have a whole grain listed first. So again, wheat, oat, barley, rye. If the first ingredient listed is not a whole grain, it is not a whole grain product. You want to try to choose options that contain at least 3 grams of fiber. This is a good source of fiber. If you can get 5 grams, it's even better. And you can look for the whole grain stamp on boxes and packages for easy identification on what might be a whole grain. Pasta and rice also fall under the grains category. So again, 6 to 8 ounces is the recommendation. You want to make half of your daily intake whole grains. So brown rice, wheat pasta, those types of things, quinoa, wild rice. Select the items that contain a whole grain and that's listed first. Brown rice is a very budget-friendly option at 10 cents per serving. You can prepare extra portions of rice and pasta all at once and then use those throughout the week. So make it as maybe just a side item, but then you can toss it in with some ground turkey and some broccoli and cheese one night. Or if you made pasta, maybe throw some grilled chicken and some roasted tomatoes on top of it. So you can get creative with your leftovers. Why are grains important for heart health? Or what are some tips? Read the ingredients list, again, to confirm that it's a whole grain. Check the label for the fiber content. Again, we want 3 grams or more. Make half your grains whole grains, and using these grains can help reduce your risk of heart disease. Cereal and granola also fall under the grains category. Check the label for total and added sugars. We tend not to focus so much on the total number of sugars because starches do contain some naturally occurring sugars, but we do definitely want to limit our added sugars. Typically, the recommendation is less than 25 grams. Good options should have low sugar and high fiber. So again, you really want to be less than 5% total added sugars and higher than 20% of fiber. There's something called the 5-20 rule. 5% or less is a low or not a good source of something, so you want to have sugar be low, and 20% or more is a good source or high source of something, so fiber would be something that we want more of. Try overnight oats for an easy grab-and-go breakfast. Typically it's a 1-to-2 ratio. You add your oats, you add double the milk, and you can use whatever kind of milk that you want, almond, coconut, cow's, cashew, whatever. And then you put in your flavorings, your cinnamon, your unsweetened coconut, sliced banana, walnuts, whatever, and then let it sit, and you will have breakfast ready to grab and go the next morning. Again, you want to read the ingredients list to check to see if it's whole grain. You want to check that label for the fiber and sugar content. You want to read the ingredients list for the various types of sugar when you're looking at cereal and granola. There are about 60 different ways that you can say sugar in a label. Obviously, anything that says sugar, anything that says syrup, anything that ends in ose, anything that's a concentrate, like a fruit juice concentrate, those are all different types of ways of saying sugar. Refined grains have most of their nutrients removed and are just digested very similarly to simple sugars, and very often most box cereals are going to be refined grains, so that's a good thing to keep in mind. Canned goods. So again, this is going to be lumped under our fruits and vegetables. So you want 5 cups of fruits and vegetables a day. Canned goods can get kind of a bad rep. You do want to choose labels that are low in sodium or no salt added for those vegetables, and pick options that are packed in water or 100% juice for those fruits. However, in a pinch, you can simply drain and rinse, and you can dramatically reduce both the salt and sugar content. Canned goods are great for being budget friendly and lasting long, so they're very convenient. And canned beans, which are also considered a vegetable, are also very budget friendly protein option. So if you are on a budget, going with canned fruits and vegetables is still a possibility. You can try canned fruit on salads, oatmeal, or in smoothies as well in place of fresh. It's important to read the label. Pretty much anything with a label, you can think of it as a warning label. You want to read it, see what's in it. Choose no salt added or low sodium for those veggies. Fruit and veggies contain a lot of fiber and potassium, and both of these are great for heart health and reduce your risk of heart disease. And beans contain resistant starches, which can actually help lower your LDL cholesterol, or the bad cholesterol, and triglycerides, which are the free-floating fatty acids in our bloodstream that tend to build up if we have larger portions than we need, or we're eating a good amount of refined carbohydrates, white pasta, white rice, white bread, or a lot of added sugars. Meat. Daily recommendation is 5.5 to 6.5 ounces of protein. Meat is a source of protein. The serving size is roughly 3 ounces of cooked meat, so that can be red meat or poultry, which is roughly the size of a deck of cards. Meat contains B vitamins for energy. You want to choose leaner cuts like loins or rounds. You want to avoid that white marbling. That is fat. The more marbling there is, the more fat there is in that cut. You want to choose 90% lean ground beef, and you can even go so far as to drain the fat, which most people, I would say, drain the fat or use a turkey baster to suck it out. But if you're really concerned, you can also reduce your fat content by actually rinsing that meat. If you're doing a roast, it can be helpful to cook the night before, refrigerate that meat in the refrigerator overnight, and then skim that fat off the top too. Seafood as another form of protein. Serving size is again roughly 3 ounces, which for seafood is typically the size of a checkbook, since fish tends to be wider but thinner. Fatty fish like tuna or salmon contain omega-3 fatty acids, which can be protective for the heart. So these are good options, while non-fatty fish like tilapia or cod are great lean protein sources. So they don't contain a ton of fat, which again is also heart healthy. Animal fats do contain saturated fat, which can contribute to plaque buildup in those arteries, which can increase your blood pressure and your cholesterol and lead to an increased risk of heart disease. You want to limit your saturated fat to 6% of your calories for the day. You want to try limiting red meat to really once a week, and you want to incorporate fish in at least once a week, preferably more, and preferably those fatty fish like salmon or tuna. Fats, oils, and spices. So these are not necessarily a food group category, but they are important. Herbs and spices add flavor without sodium, sugar, or fat, all of which can contribute to that heart disease risk. Tropical oils are the few plant-based foods that can contain saturated fats and should actually be used sparingly. So this is coconut oil, palm and palm kernel oil. Olive and avocado oils, on the other hand, contain healthy monounsaturated fats and omega-3 fats, which can be protective against heart disease. So you want to choose these options. A good tip as well is olive oil has a low smoking point, so you actually want to use this for low and slow cooking, whereas avocado oil has a higher smoking point. So if you're cooking, sautéing, pan frying at a higher temperature, you want to go with avocado oil because it has a higher smoke point. Try using no salt seasonings, which you can create yourself. Try creating your own marinades using herbs and spices and plant-based oils and citrus juices and fresh aromatics like garlic or shallots. And instead of using butter, try drizzling extra virgin olive oil on bread or pasta. Certain vegetable oils contain those healthier unsaturated fats, so choosing those over the saturated fats that we find in animal-based products. Choose oils with monounsaturated fats like olive or avocado for that heart health protection. Avoid using hard stick forms of margarine, which contain trans fat. Trans fat is a man-made fat that is created when you take an unsaturated plant-based fat like oil, throw a bunch of hydrogen at it so that you create a shelf-stable, hard, unsaturated type fat. And it is not considered heart healthy or healthy really for that matter at all. And you want to try to avoid it as much as possible. You can also check the label and ingredients list for the words partially hydrogenated to see if it contains trans fat or hydrogenated oils. Snacks. So the daily recommendation, we're again sticking this under protein because we're looking at nuts and seeds really. Choose snacks that contain protein and fiber to help fill you up, especially pairing these together tends to help keep you full longer and has benefits for the heart. Nuts and seeds are good sources of both fiber, protein, and unsaturated fat, but you do want to check the sodium content. We want to keep that under 2,300 milligrams a day. And if we already have blood pressure issues or heart issues, we tend to want to keep that under 1,500 milligrams a day. You also want to check the serving size. A serving size is generally about 1/4 of a cup. Even though they're a healthy food, if we eat too much of it, too much of anything can be a bad thing. Choose crackers, pretzels, or whatever that contain whole grains. Again, these still might not be the best option. We want to try to avoid ultra-processed and processed foods as much as possible, but sometimes that's unavoidable. And if we really want a snack, at least choosing a whole grain option is going to give us some more nutrition and benefit. You can also create your own trail mix using nuts and seeds and dried fruit, even a little bit of dark chocolate maybe, but creating your own mixes, marinades, seasonings, etc. generally is a healthier method than purchasing from the store. Again, choosing those protein-rich options. Nuts contain heart-healthy unsaturated fats, which can help reduce LDL. Processed foods can contain trans fat and should be avoided. Check the label and ingredients for trans fat, or again, the word partially hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils. That means that you should stay away from them and they are not heart healthy. Dairy and eggs. 3 cups of dairy products. This is 1 cup dairy is equal to 1 cup of milk or yogurt, 1.5 ounces of natural cheese, or 2 ounces of processed cheese. Eggs are a budget-friendly source of high-quality protein. Milk is another affordable source. These are our primary sources of calcium and vitamin D for our bones and teeth. They can also help with our artery health. And you want to choose lower fat options as a whole because, again, animal products contain saturated fat, which can clog arteries and which can increase our risk of heart disease. Dairy products contain saturated fat, so going with those lower fat versions can limit intake. Dairy does contain naturally occurring sugars called lactose, so that's important to note. Some dairy products, like flavored yogurt, also contain added sugars, so check the label. A lot of times people are surprised when they really look at the label of their yogurt and realize how many grams of added sugar there is in those flavored yogurts. So going with the plain yogurt and choosing to sweeten it yourself with cinnamon or fresh fruit, dried fruit, is a better way to go. The American Heart Association recommends less than 25 grams of added sugar a day. Frozen food. So we're tacking this under fruits and vegetables again. 5 cups of fruits and vegetables. Frozen food is often picked at peak nutrition and ripeness and then flash frozen, so it often actually contains a lot of good nutrition. It's a great alternative to fresh, but check the label for sodium and fat. Sometimes it can even be a better alternative depending on where you live. We live in Wisconsin, where the growing season is very short. We can only grow certain things. If things are traveling a long distance, it might actually lose a lot of the nutrition before it makes it to our table. So frozen may be an actually more nutritious option. Frozen fruits are great for smoothies, or you can thaw them out for, yogurt or oatmeal toppings. Frozen veggies also make great quick sides, great to add to soups or stews. Frozen fish thaws extremely quickly, so if you don't have a dinner plan and are kind of scrambling around, that's a great option. And if you're going for actual meals, choose meals that have less than 500 calories and less than 600 milligrams of sodium. Again, watching those calories and fat content and sodium content in frozen meals is extremely important. Limit sodium intake to 2,300 milligrams per day. If you already have some type of heart health condition, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or heart disease, they may want you to stay below 1,500 milligrams per day. Foods containing more than 400 milligrams are considered high in sodium. If you're having a frozen entree, you want to limit those to 600 milligrams or less of sodium. A good tip is to prepare double batches of your favorite meals and then freeze for later use. So if you're already making chili, or you're already making tacos, or you're already making, beef, rice, broccoli skillet, you make a double batch, you freeze half, and then you have something that you can easily pull out and reheat for another day. That way you're not wasting your leftovers, and you're also already making that food anyway. So why not just make a double batch? And that is how you would grocery shop for heart health. My references are listed below. These are always good places to go for information on your heart health and nutrition. If you're interested in making a healthy behavior change or looking for accountability, you can contact me via the information below. Thanks so much for joining me this month for our Lunch and Learn, and we will see you next month for our final Lunch and Learn of the year.